The Acid Lab is currently double money in GTA Online, so today I'm going to go over everything you need to know in order to make millions with the business. So in order to get the Acid Lab, you'll first have to complete the first dose mission storyline. Once you've done that, you could then talk to Mutt at the Freak Shop and purchase the Acid Lab for $750,000. Now the way the business works is you either purchase or steal supplies. Over time, those supplies are turned into product, which you could later on sell for a profit. The only thing required for the supplies to turn into product is for you to be in an online session. Now in order to make the most amount of money with the business, you'll have to also get the equipment upgrade for the Acid Lab. In order to do so, you'll have to complete 10 Fooligan missions, but once you've done that, you can then buy it for $250,000. Once you have the Acid Lab and the equipment upgrade, you're now ready to make millions with the business. The first thing to do is to go up to Mutt in the Acid Lab or call him up on your phone and buy supplies for $60,000. This one batch of supplies will take roughly 2.5 hours to completely turn into product and will fill up 2/3 of the Acid Lab. From there, purchase supplies once again and wait until the Acid Lab is full. In total, it will take roughly 4 hours and 1.6 batches of supplies to completely fill up the Acid Lab. Once the Acid Lab is full, you could then do the sell mission, which usually would give you $335,000 in an invite-only session, but because it's double money this week, it will give you almost $700,000. Now, a couple quick ways to increase or max the amount of money you could get from the business is to 1, change the name of the acid, which you could do in your interaction menu, going over to services, Acid Lab, and product name. If you change it, you'll get a 5% buff in value. And the other thing to do is to sell the acid in a public lobby with 25 or more people to get a maximum public lobby bonus, taking the total sell mission all the way up to roughly $1 million. So because the sell mission pays out $1 million and supplies only cost $96,000, it means you're making $900,000 profit in just 4 hours time, which works out to roughly $225,000 profit per hour with the business this week. Now, selling in a public lobby can seem daunting, but there's a couple things you could do to make it a lot easier. 1, as soon as you start up the sell mission and your product becomes available or visible to everybody in the lobby, use the CEO ability Ghost Organization to take you and the product off the radar for up to 3 minutes. And usually by the end of that 3-minute period, you've either already completed the sell mission or most people have forgot you're doing it and will leave you alone. The other way to protect yourself during the sell mission is to upgrade the sell vehicle, which I should mention is only 1, making the mission a lot easier. You could do that by heading over to Mutt in the Freak Shop and going over to upgrade your sell vehicle. There you could increase the specs of the motorcycle itself, and you could add armor to it as well. So those are 2 ways to protect yourself during the sell missions, but it's also important to understand each sell mission and how to make it easier. So with that being said, I'll quickly give you a few tips for each. For the sell mission where you have to go to 10 separate locations to drop off the acid, there isn't much advice I could give you aside from staying on the bike that will make the process a lot faster. As for the sell mission that has you drop off acid at 5 different locations, there will be 2 different locations where there are undercover cops watching you. So for each location, what I would do is make sure to drop off the acid at the most discreet drop-off point at each location. That way, you will never be spotted by the cops. And finally, for the sell mission where you're given 1 singular location, when you get there, there will be a police ambush. So instead of going to the top of the parking garage, all you have to do is shoot the undercover cop that will be at the entrance of the parking garage itself. And then from there, all you'll have to do is to lose the cops and then drop off the acid at the new location. All 3 missions are very straightforward and they should only take anywhere between 3 to 8 to 10 minutes. Now at this point, you could probably tell how good the business is and how much money you could be making with it this week. But you may be wondering, how can you mix it into your money grant? Well, there's 2 ways to do it. The first is you could have it running in the background while you do the Cayo Perico heist, auto shop contracts, salvage yard robberies, whatever it may be. And during that 4-hour time period, the Acid Lab will be producing product for you during that entire time. And so all you have to remember to do is resupply once at the beginning of the money grind, and then once again 2.5 hours into it, so that by hour 4 you could sell it for $1 million. So that's the first way. But the other way that may be even a little bit easier is to use it while going AFK. Now the way going AFK works is you do something in game to make the game think you're still playing, while you're actually away from the game, doing things like sleeping, working, going to school, whatever it may be. Now there are many different ways you could go AFK, but the best one I found is go to an apartment building where you have multiple units in it. When you get to the front door and you get to the screen where it asks which unit you want to go into, leave it there and the game will think you're still playing the entire time. I do this all the time. I plug in my controller, go into the screen, and I walk away for 5-6 hours at a time. And then when I come back, all of my businesses like the Acid Lab have still been producing the entire time. So by the time I get back, my product is ready to sell. But regardless of how you mix in the Acid Lab into your money grind this week, it is by far one of the best businesses to run this week. And I hope this video helped. If it did, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.